Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is an A2 level reading lesson and we're going to be reading an article about spending a short vacation in Moscow. Okay, so what do you know about Russia? Russia is a very fascinating country, has a very long history. Here are some of the famous architecture that you might find in Russia. And then here are some facts about Russia. You can pause the video and take a guess at some of these, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so Russia is the largest country in the world. It is 1.8 times larger than the United States. Moscow, the capital of Russia, has a population of about 12 million people. The Russian border touches 14 other countries, including China, Finland, and Mongolia. Russia is so wide that it has 9 different time zones. When it is 12 p.m. in the east, it is only 3 a.m. in Moscow. And Lake Baikal in Russia is the deepest lake in the world and contains 20% of the world's fresh water. So here are some other facts about Moscow, but one of them is false. See if you can pick it out. The Moscow subway station is one of the oldest in the world and has more than 200 stations. Moscow was the site of the Summer Olympic Games in 1980 and 2012. The city is named for the Moskva River, which runs through it. Moscow was not always the capital city. Between 1712 and 1918, the capital was St. Petersburg, and people who lived in Moscow are called Muscovites. So see if you can pick the one that is false. B is false. The Summer Games were held in Moscow in 1980, but in 2012, the Summer Olympic Games were held in London. So it's letter B that's false. So today, cheap flights make it possible to visit a city for a long weekend. If you had 3 days in Moscow, what would you do? These are some responses from uh, several people. The first one is Moscow has such a long and rich history. I would spend my time in museums and galleries. I'd spend my time trying different Russian food. It's such a large city that I would probably walk around for hours. And Red Square is the most famous place in Russia. I would spend 3 days there. And here are some other famous places that people sometimes visit in Moscow. St. Basil's Cathedral, the Bolshoi Theater, the Kremlin, and the Moscow Metro. All right, so you're going to read an email from Anna to her friend Jen. Anna went on a trip to Moscow 3 years ago. Now Jen is going to Moscow for a short vacation. In her email, Anna suggests some sites to see and activities to do. So, what places do you think that Anna will recommend visiting? What transportation will she suggest that Jen use to get around Moscow? And what other information is important for a tourist? So take a few moments, you can write down your guesses and then restart when you're ready to continue. All right, and before we read, here are some vocabulary words for this first section of the email. Efficient means working in an organized way. Plenty of means a lot of or many. Suggestion is an idea or plan. And impressive is special, important, or very large. And you can either pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Hi, Jen. It's great to hear you're heading to Moscow for a few days. It is a fascinating city, and there are so many amazing places to visit. The best way to get around is by metro. It's cheap, efficient, and easy to use, even if you don't speak any Russian. I'm sure you're doing plenty of research online, but let me give you a few suggestions for your trip. The first place you should definitely visit is Red Square in the center of Moscow. It's very impressive. At one end is St. Basil's Cathedral, and the Kremlin is on one of the other sides of the square, which is well worth a visit. You can also stop for a hot chocolate at a great cafe called Shokolanitsa. All right, so can you find this vocabulary in the text? In paragraph 1, which word means very interesting? In paragraph 2, which two-word verb means to move from place to place? In paragraph 2, which word between means a number between 3 and 5? And in the final paragraph, what words are used to describe the Kremlin as important to see? Let's go ahead and take a few moments and try to answer those questions, and then restart the video when you're ready to see the answers. All right, so the word in paragraph 1 that means very interesting is fascinating. The two-word verb that means to move from place to place is to get around. The word that means a number between 3 and 5 would be few. And important to see, the phrase would be well worth a visit. All right, here are a few more vocabulary words. Pedestrian, a person walking rather than traveling in a vehicle. Local, relating to a particular neighborhood. Traditional, belonging to the customs of behaving that have continued in a group of people for a long time. Another place you should see is Stary or Old Arbat. It is a long pedestrian street with lots of cafes and restaurants. In the summer, you can see local musicians performing in the street and artists painting pictures. They also have souvenirs like the traditional Russian matryoshka dolls, the sets of different size dolls that fit inside each other. Mumu is my favorite restaurant. It serves traditional Russian food. You can try borscht, which is a soup made from beets with sour cream and black bread. It's delicious. Right, so which words refer to a road that you can walk on but not drive on? Which two activities are mentioned that people do in the street? Which word means an item that reminds you of a place? And what do people eat with borscht, the beet soup? So take a few moments, answer those questions, and then restart the video when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so a road that you can walk on but not drive in is a pedestrian street. The two activities mentioned were musical performances and painting. An item that reminds you of a place is a souvenir. And people eat black bread and sour cream with borscht. All right, listing is a book, poster, or brochure with information for visitors and tourists. In the evening, you should go to the theater, the ballet, or a classical music concert. They are all wonderful. Check the local listings, schedules, or calendars to find out what's available. I saw Swan Lake at the Bolshoi Theater, and it was an experience I will never forget. Have a wonderful time. Love, Anna. So how does each image relate to Anna's email? Take a few moments and answer those questions, and then restart when you're ready to check the answers. So A is showing a pedestrian street, a place where people walk, but there are no cars allowed. This picture shows borscht, a traditional Russian food. Anna mentions that she saw Swan Lake at the Bolshoi Theater. And this is a picture of the Moscow Metro, which is cheap, efficient, and easy to use. All right, so here's another email from Anna, and so try to complete this using the vocabulary here in the boxes. So you can pause the video, take a few moments to try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so hi Jen, I have one more suggestion for Moscow. By the way, I looked at the Bolshoi Theater's website. There are plenty of tickets available to see the Snow Maiden. You should go. Also, I forgot to mention that there is a great restaurant on Arbat. I can't remember the name, but it's on the same pedestrian street. So you have to walk there. Look for a sign that has a large bear on it. It's a local restaurant, so the menu is in Russian. Go there if you can. Now, your friend David is going to Moscow for the weekend, and what could he do? So use the information from the text. And here are two extra places in Moscow that you like to mention. The Izmailovo Kremlin Museum. It's a cultural center with fascinating museums next to a great open-air market. And Gorky Park, an amazing amusement park. Great place to go when you need a break from the busy streets. So in your email to David, try to mention at least 3 places to visit. Say why David should visit these places, and tell David how to get around the city. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, leave those for me in the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.